Senator Kwankwaso's administration is going to succeed, and that is why he comes up with a plan for women and children. Your Excellency, with your kind permission, allow me to read the issue of women and children, because women are extremely very important in our country. Children are extremely very important. The chapter on women and children is only 2.5 pages, so permit me to read it in entirety. 53.3% of Nigeria's population is currently under the age of 15. They are children. And the current total number of children under the age of 5 stand at nearly 36 million. And every year, 7 million children are born in Nigeria. So if you ignore this demography and make no plan for them, it means you are not making any plan. Nigeria's women of childbearing age, that is from 15 year to 49-year-old, suffer a disproportionately high level of health issues surrounding birth. And there are over 40 million women of childbearing age in our country. While the country represents about 2.8% of the world's population, it currently contributes more than 10% of the global death for pregnant women, for pregnant mothers. Each year, approximately 262,000 babies die at birth in Nigeria, the world's second highest national total. Infant mortality currently stands at 74 per 1,000 live births, while for under 5s, it stands at 117 per 1,000 live births. More than half of our under 5 deaths results from malaria, pneumonia, and diarrhea. Poor access to water, sanitation, and hygiene, what is called WASH, remains a major cause of diarrhea-related diseases. As of 2015, 57 million Nigerians were without access to improved water sources, while 130 million Nigerians are without access to improved sanitation. An estimated 25% of Nigerians practice open defecation on a daily basis. The situation today has only gotten worse. Over 20 million Nigerian children are currently out of school, accounting for the second largest number for any country in the world. Women and children, again, suffer the brunt and consequences of insurgency, insecurity, violent extremism, domestic violence, and other conflict more than any demography, and therefore require more attention, more support. Additionally, we note that income inequality resulting to higher incidences of abject poverty amongst women still persists. And the ugly incidence of trafficking in person, especially women and children, still continues unabated. What are our commitments to you? For RMK, for Senator Rabi Musa Kwankwaso, women are the pathfinders and the moral compass of the nation. And children are the hope for the future advancement and sustained prosperity of our country. As such, the RMK administration shall undertake a vigorous review of all existing policies on women, children, and other vulnerable groups with a view to implementing programs and instituting projects that target their well-being and social protection. State governments shall be assisted and encouraged to adopt the federal government model. As contained in our program for education and health, children and women education and health shall be a priority across Nigeria. Those with special needs shall receive no less attention. Specifically, we plan to mop up all the out-of-school children, all the 20 million out-of-school children from the streets of Nigeria in our first 4 years. And special attention and incentives will be given to promote and support the girl child education. We plan to provide, in collaboration with states and local government and local councils, free natal and maternity health care in all public hospitals. We plan to introduce that will improve sanitation and hygiene with a view to preventing the prevalence of sanitation-related diseases. We shall, in collaboration with states and local councils, improve and ensure access to clean and potable water in all underserved communities in the country. It shall be a deliberate policy of the RMK administration to improve the economic well-being of rural women, just as income disparity between urban females and their male counterparts shall be narrowed. We will establish a fund. To be known Women and Children Rehabilitation Fund to assist victims of human trafficking, victims of violent extremism, victims of terrorism and banditry, and cater for other vulnerable groups. This fund shall be complemented by a strong data capture infrastructure to track all recipients, returnees, as well as measuring and controlling outcomes. We will support and strengthen NAPTIP to execute their responsibilities as provided in the Establishment Act. RMK administration shall key into the Spotlight initiative that focus on eliminating all forms of violence against women and girls. RMK administration shall be in regular consultation groups in association with a view to tapping from their knowledge, wisdom, and experience on national issues, on national development. We will promote and encourage women and youth to participate in politics and engage in meaningful economic activities. Your Excellency, Chapter 9, we have entered into critical infrastructure. Chapter 9 is on energy and power, the oil and gas industry. Of Nigeria access to electricity, the global picture of our situation, and the electricity consumption per capita is about 145 kilowatt hour, which is one of the world's smallest. We lose 28 billion because of shortages of electricity, 28 billion naira. And we are only using $28 billion. 1% of our source of electricity is from renewables, in spite of the abundance of renewable sources in our country. Are very instructive for RMK's plan. 37 billion barrels proven crude oil reserve in Nigeria. If we are harnessing this crude reserve at OPEC rate of 2.2 billion, if we are harnessing this reserve of 37 billion barrels at OPEC quota of 2.2 million per day, there will be no drop of crude oil left in Nigeria after 46 years. 46 years, no oil. What it means is any patriotic government will have to think beyond oil, will have to think outside oil, will have to plan a Nigeria post-oil. And that's exactly the energy blueprint of RMK is trying to do. The other figure, 200 of proving gas reserve. If the OPEC quota of gas is the same thing with the OPEC quota for oil, 2.2 million barrels per day, we are going to be having access to this reserve in the next 500 years. in the next 500 years, we are not going to be able to exhaust the gas reserve in Nigeria. Perhaps that is why it is being flared, it is being wasted. But RMK is going to stop gas flaring and is going to build our energy policy around the gas value chain, because gas is an economy enabler and not a short-term revenue earner. Our entire reindustrialization revolution is centered around energy provisioning through the master plan. So in this oil and gas plan, the commitments are enumerated, and we have 3 programs in our plan. We're going to improve production to meet oil quota, to meet OPEC quota of oil production, and how we are going to do that has been articulated. To sustainably produce at OPEC quota, we will do the following. We are going to arrest the illegal theft of crude. We are going to rehabilitate and modernize the pipeline. We are going to build sustainable partnership with host communities. We are going to secure and ensure efficient field operations, and we are going to facilitate adequate funding of all the joint ventures that Nigeria is involved in. And we're going to create a very credible gas value chain. And how the gas value chain is going to be created is also enumerated and clearly articulated in the blueprint. And then the third plan is attaining ideal level of energy provisioning. How do we attain the ideal level of energy provisioning in partnering with the private sector and other investors? And how that is going to be done is also clearly enumerated in the blueprint. The next critical infrastructure is transportation. All Nigerians are living witnesses that the transportation subsector is also in a big mess, just like numerous other subsectors of the economy. 3 different programs: the rail program, the aviation program, and the road programs. Now, for the rail programs, RMK is committed to honoring all the agreements and contracts that successive governments have entered in the provision of rail services. But additionally, we are going to expand the dual gauge rail service, deploying both the mesh design as well as the ring design, so that all the major cities in our country are going to be covered with the rail line. This is going to be done in conjunction with the appropriate private sector practitioners that are involved in the. But beyond the dual gauge, beyond the speed train, beyond our aspiration to reach the level of putting a maglev in Nigeria, we are also not going to ignore the locomotives, the slow trains that we have. No country in the world abandoned the locomotives. Even when you go to Japan or China, where they have the magnetic levitation trains that are going at 350 kilometers per hour, the fastest trains in the world, they still have the sleeper trains, they still have the locomotives that will spend hours going from place to place for some specialized transportation. So our locomotives that we have been using hitherto are going to be restored, they are going to be renovated, and the lines are going to be reactivated, and while we are using them, we will continue to pursue the establishment of speed trains and dual gauge rail service. In our air transportation master plan, we are concerned about the status of our airports, and all of them are going to be upgraded. Most of the local airports are going to be upgraded to international status, so that we are going to have more gateways for international businesses. We are going to target a minimum passenger traffic in the nation's airport to 25 million from the current 15.2 million. We will strengthen the aviation regulatory agencies to ensure that airline operators would comply with regulations and standards, especially as they relate to safety, maintenance, scheduling, and pricing. But most importantly, the promises and promises and promises, daily promises about national carrier that we have been hearing for decades will come to fruition under the RMK administration, because RMK will sincerely and genuinely catalyze the process of establishing a national carrier and make Nigeria transportation hub in sub-Saharan Africa. Network, we have discussed the model, how roads are going to be treated by the RMK administration when we are discussing security. Consortia of companies, local and international, are going to be engaged. They are going to be asked to build based on specification, based on guidelines, based on targets. They will reconstruct the roads, they will create new ones, and then they will be able to recover their investments before eventually handing over to Gamma. The next sector is works and housing. Here, we're talking about the housing revolution, affordable housing revolution. Any visitor to Kano have seen the 6 megacities built by RMK when he was governor in Kano. All of them beautiful, all of them affordable, all of them accessible, and this revolution is going to be extended to the entire country. All Nigerians that work hard should be able to have their going to be achieved is articulated step by step in the document as you go through. The next critical infrastructure is the maritime sector. We have articulated all the challenges. Bottlenecks everywhere, indiscipline everywhere, and traffic congestion at our ports everywhere, underutilized ports everywhere. And we believe that understanding the problems is half solving it. With clear understanding, we have articulated clear commitments how we are going to address the maritime subsector. But one important thing that one important is the fact that under our plan, all the coastal cities in Nigeria are going to be connected with a courier rail service that will be ferrying goods and containers to stop the congestion at Apapa and One, because the congestion is simply unacceptable. And all the other ports that are being underutilized, some not even being used at all, are going to be put to active use. All the ports in Nigeria are going to be put to use, and they will be connected through a courier rail service that will be ferrying goods and goods from the port to the hinterland. Now, through this very quickly, because I understand that agriculture, mechanization, and food security. Under agriculture mechanization, you see, agriculture is very important because it ticks all the boxes. All the boxes that you're going to put on your checkbox for development, for growth, for economic stability, agriculture will tick all of them. And therefore, if you're talking about food security, national security, job opportunities, economic growth, industry and investment, etc., agriculture is in there. And that is why our agriculture revolution is very wide, very broad. We have quite a number of programs. The first program is organizing farming communities. Farming communities are going to be organized so that we will be able to have access to extension services. They will be able to have access to farm implements through the farm centers. They will be able to have access to all the guidelines, government support, etc. When we organize farming communities, we'll be able to guide them appropriately on the production of cash crop, different types of cash crop, depending on the soil mapping that this blueprint also has envisaged. All land development, all the land in the farming communities are going to be developed. They're going to be guided how lands are going to be provided. And in order to do the mechanization, quite a number of things. In order to protect the farmers, you organize them, they are doing production, and the loss during harvest is enormous. How do you protect farmers? The second program is the establishment of the commodity board. Commodity boards, anybody that is over 50 years knows the commodity boards in Nigeria in the past. We are going to return the commodity boards to protect farmers so that the value of their produce is going to be respected and they are going to earn appropriately based on what the input they have put in the work to till their land. We will encourage farmers to export their produce. We will help in establishing prices of produce and ensuring that farmers are not taken advantage of. We will ensure that the agri value chain is developed and is in the interest of both the farmers, the consumers, and also the industries that are in need of the produce as raw materials. Sorry? Okay. Okay. The third program in agriculture is technology transfer and acquisition. You cannot mechanize agriculture without technology. And so we are going to involve and use technology effectively, massively. Remember, our presidential candidate is also a mechanized farmer. So he is going to be driving this from the front, and he will be guiding how the mechanization revolution is going to take place. How this mechanization will go is articulated in step by steps in the blueprint. The fourth one is in respect of animal husbandry. Livestock, birds, fishes are not only a major source of livelihood, but they are also a major contributors to the economy. And that is why our integrated farm initiative that is going to be promoted actively by the RMK administration is going to pay special attention to animal husbandry. What we are going to do in respect of that are also articulated. And the fifth is a sort of closing remark in respect of agriculture. Employment generation. Nothing provides many readily available jobs with immediate and high returns on investment than agriculture. And our party, the administration of RMK, will ensure that Nigerian youth are guided appropriately into agriculture and their appetite, its weight is stimulated so that they will be able to see the benefit, get involved, and reap the benefits. We will also encourage the private sector to establish food processing industries so as to add value to the agricultural raw materials that are being provided. I'm being asked that we have been sitting here for over an hour now. The national leader and the presidential candidate is concerned about the health of everybody, so he's requesting that we do a health break of 5 minutes to stretch our legs, and then after 5 minutes, we resume and conclude in the next 15 minutes. Okay. Okay. I'm being corrected that there will be a small entertainment. So you should. Okay.
Thank you very much, Dr. Bafabichi. As we mentioned earlier, today is more of a technical session of the political aspect of Senator Rabi Musa Kwankwaso. A round of applause for Dr. Bapa Abdullahi Bichi, who would come back at another point after the interlude. I will now invite Malang Tijani Gandu, the chairman of Kwankwasia Singers. He would be accompanied by the famous actor and director Sani Danja, Shalele Mawaga, and Rabiu D. Malang. 4 of them will perform at the stage for 5 minutes.
You can fold it, no problem.
DJ.
Sakon mu je zuwa farin sarki Kwankwaso. An gugurin Salamatu dan Musa kai wa makiyara ta. Kashe gaban magautan nan dan ba za su kara bacci ba. Uwar rago ake yi wa jaje ni na ba su yaye ba. Sakon mai kanon Kwankwasiya Abdullahi Tarauni, Honorable Abdullahi mai kame suwami. Aiko ana zato rangiwa ya girma rasanin kura. Ai dole ne bikin yar gata a sha gudunmawar gara. Kwankwason mu canza kara ne Allah ya yadda ya cara. Masu arzikin shanu ku sani dole za su sha madara. Wallahi ko su ga ya kone ba a hada da kanwa ba. Muna gidan ka jagora ilu a mai rufi akwai daɗi. Rabi'u Musa Kwankwasa ai kai wa makiya faɗi. Zuciya ta jagoran mun san ba ta zamo kazama ba. Ba ta zamo kazama ba. Ka sa gaban ka inda kake so Kwankwasa mu biyo baya. Wani shiri wani ya yaki zani haƙar gyaɗa ganya. Raskwana uwan lissafi ka girma mai bakar kwanya. Magana ake ta siyasa kai ne gaban su ba wani ba. Mai hankali da zuma baba ashe kwarjinin kai nisa. Wallahi gori ba ta gagar taunar amana sai lasa. Dare adam fatake bacci yana gurin kasa. Kafi su daraja da nasibi kuma ba su kai da suna ba. Ba su kai ka suna ba. Gangaren uba ga gwani kanwa ba irin talasa ba. Wasu ka kara bugu domin baka buga a daidai ba. Ga kanuwa da shan Allah ba taki yayi ki konuwa ba. Kai ne murucin dutsen nan masu ja da kai ga hanya nan. Ka tsara gida jagora. Ka tsara gida jagora. Kanuwa da shaida ga Allah. Kanuwa da shaida ga Allah. Ta kamu ta Bishop zai taya Kwankwaso. Bishop zai taya Kwankwaso. Bishop zai taya Kwankwaso. Bishop zai taya Kwankwaso. Bishop zai taya Kwankwaso su sarka. Kwankwaso su sarkake Najeriya. Bishop zai taya Kwankwaso. Bishop zai taya Kwankwaso. Bishop zai taya Kwankwaso. Bishop zai taya Kwankwaso. Bishop zai taya Kwankwaso su sarkake Najeriya. Bishop zai taya Kwankwaso su sarkake Najeriya. Fito za mu taya wa madugu ba kasa ba. Yan kasa masu gwagwarmaya ba za su gudu ba. Wanda ke san nutsuwa a gobe bai bar jiya ba. Madugu ja tawaga ba za a kwace maka ba. Inda Allah ya kafa ka to ba za kai kasa ba. Bishop zai taya Sak zai taya Kwankwaso. Bishop zai taya Kwankwaso. Gida hosa na Kwankwaso. Bishop zai taya Kwankwaso su sarkake Najeriya. Muna layin Kwankwaso. Muna layin Kwankwaso. Muna tafiyar Kwankwaso. Muna tafiyar Kwankwaso. Mun bigiwa babbar kaso. Mun bigiwa babbar kaso. Mun jirgin ceto ya yau fitan 'yan Najeriya.
NNPP New Nigeria kowa yake so.
Shi ne mai kowa mai komai ya Allah ina roƙon Allah. Ya Allah. Ya Allah ba mu rabo. NNPP ce a gaba. New Nigeria People's Party.
Ga sa'an dan janna na sa'an dan indo ya fito da launin waka ta jam'iyya mai kayan daɗi.
Ta jam'iyya mai kayan daɗi. Jama'an Najeriya sai ku zo su ku karkasa kunnuwan ku kuji. Haka ba duba bane. ba sihiri ba ne, ba bokanci ba ne. Na gano wargajewar afaca, na gano tarwar adafa. Su fito su yi tangal-tangal si haka.
Kubarinsu da kwama talarsu.
Yi kumbul-kumbul si haka.
Su je su yi tallan turmunsu. Mun amince da jam'iyya ce ta tara masu alfarma. Ku zo mu da gari duka ta haska. Ita kadai ta zama duka ɗauka. Jam'iyya mai kwando. Mai kayan marmari.
Na tsaya na duba ARPP mu a gaba, gabas da yamma mu a gaba, kudan arewa mu a gaba. Jama'a ma ai sun gane.
Alheri ya fito ƙarshen hanya ya kusa.
Ga waka sabuwa daga bakin Murtala dan uwa. Shi ma ya zo da gudunmawarsa a tsarin gaskiya. Alkhairi ya taho, ina jama'a kuke yan.
Aha. To mu je zuwa DJ.
Thank you very much, Sani Musa Danja, Tijani Gandu, Shalele Mawaka, Murtala Suleja. So we're now going to continue from where we stopped with the Dr. Buffer on the technical session. It's called Review of the Blueprint. So all participants are requested to be seated. Everybody should go back to their seats. Please, we need your attention to continue the program. Dr. Abdullahi Baffa is here. After the short break, he will keep moving into the review.
Thank you very much, Alaji Sanusi. Your Excellencies, very distinguished guests, we have resumed. We are going to continue. I crave your indulgence to please return to your seats.
Jama'a da Allah da annabi dakta zai ci gaba da Allah a zazzona duk lokacin sallah ma bai ba mutane suna tashi. Please, ladies and gentlemen, please come back to your seat. Dr. Buffer is going to continue reviewing the blueprint. Please, your attention is needed, please. Please sit down, have your seat. Sit down, Hajia, please sit down. Sit down, thank you very much.
Your Excellency, distinguished guests, we are going to resume the next chapter on water resources. I am going to go very fast because we have to finish in the next few minutes, and I don't want to be the one who is going to stand between you and the address by the President in waiting. On water resources, we have articulated the programs and the what we intend to do in respect of water resources. Two key things that needs to be mentioned. Can we have one house, please? Can we have one house, please? Rivers, major rivers in our country. And the other one is the commitment to establish captive dams to guard against the menace of flooding that recently is causing serious havoc in many communities across the country. After water resources, we have the chapter on labor, opportunity for all. And here, we have provided a summary of the number of jobs that RMK administration intends to produce, to create number of job opportunities the RMK administration will create through implementation of its blueprint. And Your Excellency, I crave your indulgence to permit me to read through this very short summary. Deliberate step will be taken from our first day in office to end youth in our country. In specific terms, over 2 million jobs, over 2 million job opportunities will be created in the armed forces, police, and other security agencies. Our mass housing plan will provide opportunities to more than 1 million Nigerian youth annually. Our agriculture mechanization agenda will create over 2 million opportunities annually to place our youth in gainful and productive engagement across the agriculture value chain. Our proposed revolution in critical infrastructure provisioning will provide over 3 million regular opportunities in the transportation sector and the power sector. Our education reforms, especially expanding access and mopping up of over 20 million out-of-school children, will entail the recruitment of hundreds of thousands of teachers and other associated staff in our education system annually. Our plan to modernize healthcare services will not only entail infrastructural and high-tech equipment provisioning, but also the recruitment of hundreds of thousands of medical personnel across the 3 levels of care to cater for the ballooning size of Nigeria's population. Private sector will be strong enough to generate even more job opportunities as a result of conducive climate and appropriate and deliberate government policies in oil and gas, solid minerals, telecommunication, sports and tourism, entertainment industry, etc. And one key program, one key commitment that RMK is giving to Nigerian youth, again, is very fundamental. Employment in Nigeria has become a commodity for sale. From day one, sales of forms for the purposes of employment in any public sector agency will be stopped forthwith. No applicant will be required to purchase form because they are applying for a job in the public service. And then the next chapter is on interior. All the agencies under the interior, the Immigration Service, the Road Safety Commission, the National Civil Defense Corps, as well as the National Correctional Service, the Fire Service, etc., all of them, the blueprint, have articulated programs and commitments on what we need to do to turn them around and to make them more responsive and more efficient. And then the next is on trade and investment. For trade and investment, under that we have the RMK Industrial Revolution, where we are going to have the 3-deck implementation of the RMK Industrial Revolution scheme at the small scale level, at the medium scale level, and at the large scale level, where graduates, all graduates, unemployed graduates are going to be grouped into cells, and they are going to be supported and incentivized to take active role in building the industrial parts and in establishing firms and companies. We have telecommunication policies also. We have information, culture, and tourism. We have sports and recreation policies and programs and commitment. We have science and technology and innovation. We have solid minerals. And we also have a chapter on Niger Delta with all the commitments given by His Excellency Senator Rabi Musa Kwankwaso in respect of Niger Delta. We have the rule of law and rule of virtue, what we are going to do, the 2 programs in upholding the rule of law and the judicial reform. And we also have the restructuring of Nigeria. The conversation, this is the final chapter. The conversation in respect of the necessity or not to restructure Nigeria has been raging for over a decade now. A number of factors are fueling this conversation, some of which include the real and perceived injustices by successive administration, the failure of successive administration to respect the letter and the spirit of the Constitution, our inability as a people to appreciate and honor the spirit of true federalism that our founding fathers envisaged, our failure as a federation to evolve structures, processes, and instructions based on our peculiarities and in line with our needs and aspirations of our people, and in line with the needs and aspirations of our people, especially since the existing structures have failed to meet such expectations. Now, this is the commitment of RMK and NNPP in respect of restructuring. And I want Nigeria and Nigerians to take this quite very literally. Given the situation of our country, it is imperative to restructure our country so as to make governance people-oriented and efficient. We at the NNPP are committed to the restructuring of Nigeria. We make haste to add that given the thorny issues involved in the process and considering the complex nature of our federation, such process will not be rushed in our plan. The fundamental objective of any restructuring shall be to strengthen the country, unite all citizens, improve efficiency and performance, grow the country to attain self-sufficiency, among other things. All issues related to restructuring will be objectively and patriotically identified and placed on the table. Some of the issues are the federal versus state relation, state creation, state police, resource management, human rights, open government, etc. All these issues are going to be on the restructuring table for honest, objective conversation and discussion. All Nigerians, especially ordinary Nigerians, shall be given the chance to express their opinions on each of the issues on the restructuring table. The aggregate of such views as expressed by all Nigerians shall be honored and respected by the administration of RMK. The next chapter is on TPRC. At this point, permit me to invite the President-in-waiting, the next President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, distinguished guest, Senator Rabi Musa Kwankwaso.
Please. Get seated, please. Please sit down. Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, let me start by thanking Almighty God for showing us this very historic day, the day when we are unveiling our blueprint. At this point, I would like to thank the committee members. Many people contributed in one way or another through the committee. And my humble self was the chairman of the committee. The chairman of the party was a member. His Excellency, our vice presidential candidate, a member, Dr. Buffer, who read it on our behalf, the secretary of the committee, Senator Rufai Sanehanga, Polasha De Aliu, Inua Idris, Dr. Sani Danjuma, Yusuf Kofar Mata, Farouk Bibi Farouk, Buba Galadima, Mohammed De Gaulle, Dr. Danjuma Mahmoud, Precious Elekima, Air Vice Marshal Ibrahim Umar, Abdul Mumini Jibrin, Oladipo Johnson, Bashir Ibrahim. Please, if they are here, please stand up for recognition. Please, stand up. Yes, AVM Ifemeji. So, on behalf of all of us, I would like to thank them. Please get seated. And I'm happy to say that this blueprint is organic. It's not that something that has been worked by any specialists in any area other than this committee. Of course, with sort of inputs from various people, but not the type of new prints that was being done by consultants just to be given to the candidate. We sat down and produced that under my leadership. Let me also thank Dr. Buffer for creating time to take us through the major part of the document. Now, what we have here is what we call community participation and orientation committees. These are the committees that are similar to what we have done in Kano for the 8 years I was governor. The committee, can you take it up, please? These committees are to be in all the 8,809 wards across the country. And this is going to be what we call stopgap. It's not something that is permanent in nature, but there are committees that are necessitated by the present circumstance in this country. We have tried the committees in Kano. They have been extremely useful, and we are going to, by the grace of God, use them if voted into power. And I believe that these committees will be in a position to solve so many problems that we have today in this country. Take education, for example. We have a situation where most of our primary schools and even secondary schools are in a total mess. I'm sure you remember a few days ago, we went to Dorawa in Nasarawa local government, where we commissioned a primary school that collapsed 30 years ago. 30 years, their children were not going to school. And for you to understand the size of the village, the first admission we did this year, we have over 400 children that were admitted into that primary school. In fact, we built 4 classes and an office. They have to do 2 sessions, morning and afternoon. And you could imagine 30 years that village had no school. And we have states or state government, we have local governments, but there was no primary school. We are not even talking of secondary or any tertiary institution in that town. So, having known the problems across the country, we thought we should establish these intervention committees that will work to ensure that basic things are being sorted out in the 8 years by the grace of God that will be in government. Now, let me show you the composition of the committee, please. Composition of the committee. The members at the committee level are all 11 wards, local governments, states, and of course at national level. We have number 1, most senior traditional ruler, most senior clerk or imam, chairman of the NNPP, and to make it apolitical, we decided that the opposition chairman, any chairman, the most senior or the most populous party in that ward is also a member of the committee. Chairman of the PTA, vigilante, and most prominent woman, most senior retiree, student representative, most prominent philanthropist, and then person with special needs. These are 11 people. And government, through appropriate legislation, will from time to time send in money directly to these committees in all the 8,809 wards in this country. And it is the responsibility of that committee to decide on the most important issue that they have in that local, in that ward, in that community. Many of the communities, of course, were anticipating to pay a lot of attention on the issue of education. If you are getting money regularly to the committees, I'm sure a village or a town like Orawa wouldn't have stayed for 30 years without a primary school, and therefore their children were not going to school. And only God knows the talents that were being wasted in the last 3 decades in Orawa. And it's not only Orawa, it's not only in Nasarawa State, it's across the country, especially in this part of the country. So let's go to the local government committee, please. Local government committee is similar to the ward committee. Let's go to the state, please. It's similar also to the one, go ahead, to the one in the, now, the committee at the national level. We thought that we should involve the most senior people in especially the leadership of the 2 dominant religions that we have. President of the NSCIA, the president of CAN, chairman of the NNPP, and the other chairman, most, let's say, important party, chairman of PTA, NLC president, NCWS, former IGP, former head of service, president of NANS, and president of NASIMA. These are names we thought should be at the national level. This is our proposal. Of course, it is flexible, especially at this level, and I believe all of them being leaders in this country will be very happy to monitor what is happening in all our wards in this country. Now, the funding, as I told you, go ahead. The CVRC will exist across board, but will have a lot of its responsibilities undertaken at grassroots. Meaning, they will mainly, we are targeting the grassroots. That's the main target. Main resources is coming from the government, but certainly all of us must go back to our wards and local governments and support them. I'm sure there must have been many people in Orawa or the likes of Orawa in this country where they have important people that can support them, but unfortunately, their mind, their intention, their attention is not on that side. And that's why we thought we are going to encourage people to go back to their base. We will encourage companies, we will encourage international communities, we will encourage everybody to go and support people at that level. And it is only by so doing that we should be able to sort out all the issues that we have at grassroots level. These are in Kano, we use them for feeding our children. We use them for provision of uniform to our primary school children. We use them even to employ teachers to teach in our primary schools in Kano. And with this communal arrangement, I believe that many people will be interested, like we had in Kano, where people were going to fetch either sand or bring in gravels or bring in carpenters, masons, and so on to help. And that will certainly ensure the ownership of the project. As we have seen in many parts of this country, people will be in a hurry to go and take any wobbling window that is loose in primary schools or even secondary schools to take to their villages or to their homes. With this ownership, it becomes extremely difficult for anybody to do it because people will take the ownership of the school, people will take the ownership of the clinic or dispensary, people will take the ownership of the borehole or the well, people will take ownership of whatever is there for them in their communities. Can you go up, please? Go ahead. Well, these are some of the photographs that we have taken in the past. Some of them are doctors, some marine engineers, and so on. Go up, please. Now, the issue, up. I believe that Dr. Buffer has covered most of these areas, but I've seen the issue of restructuring. We very much believe in what Nigerians are keen. We are Democrats, liberal Democrats, who are willing to listen. Our government is not going to be the rigid type of government. We will listen to Nigerians because we believe at the end of the day, it is only Nigerians that can vote for president to be on seat. So he has covered the area of restructuring, and of course, go up, continue. I don't know what else we have. There is citation. I don't know, you will continue with the citation. Please be patient. I know it's not easy to stay for 3 hours, but this is a special day for every member of the NNPP. And we delayed bringing this blueprint deliberately because we were of the opinion that these organic ideas can easily be picked up by other candidates to put in their own arrangement. We are happy that at least the 3 parties have already released their own new blueprint. We have seen them, and anybody looking at what has been read by Dr. Buffer on behalf of all of us would agree with me that there are some original ideas. In fact, all of them are original ideas that we have been nursing over the years to have an opportunity to bring them to Nigerians. And I hope Nigerians will take time to ensure that they read through all this write-up. We have them bounded. And at the end of the day, we are going to have some copies, especially to members of the press. We have some copies to give it to all the people who are here and even those who are not here. And I hope people will take their time. In fact, there are so many people who thought that there is need for the leaders of our party in their various states to ensure that this document is being translated into the local languages so that our people who cannot understand or read English can be able to understand what we are saying here. So we thank Almighty God for giving us this opportunity of bringing an original thoughts that we have in NNPP to Nigerians. Let me, at this point, I have just some 2 pages which we feel are very important. Fellow compatriots, in the 60-page blueprint, we have laid out to you a synopsis of what we believe needs to be done to turn around the future of our country, rescue her from the present state of security wars, economic shocks, infrastructural decay, social services collapse, heal her of severe wounds inflicted on her arising from bad choices by successive administrations, and place her on the pedestal of peace, unity, security, growth, and prosperity. We believe that every patriotic Nigerian is worried about the present state of affairs. We believe that every patriotic Nigerian is disappointed with the performance of the two ruling parties. We believe that majority of Nigerians are justifiably angry about how the very people entrusted with the business of governance betrayed the trust and dragged our country to the present state of despondency, hopelessness, and fear. We live in a country where victims of insecurity are constantly being ignored, or worse still, being accused of exaggeration or lying or both. We live in a country where victims of unemployment are accused of laziness. We live in a country where universities and other tertiary education institutions are frequently being shut down for months, and our children's future being jeopardized while leaders are busy throwing out hundreds of millions of naira to purchase party nomination forms. We live in a country where the economy is on a slippery slope and the people's purchasing power is increasingly being weakened. We live in a country where being wrong is the new right. And this is perhaps the worst of all the wounds inflicted on our country. And all these wounds must be healed. At the NNPP, we believe that our situation as a country is not irreversible. Our country, more than any other time, needs competent, credible, and empathic leader with the experience, the will, and the fitness to think and work around the clock for the country. Most importantly, such leaders must have real, practical, sincere, and acceptable plan to hit the ground running when elected. That is exactly what we at the NNPP present to you. Our blueprint is written for all Nigerians because we believe that together with all Nigerians of goodwill, we must leave no stone unturned in our quest for a new and better Nigeria, a Nigeria where justice and fairness rule, a Nigeria where safety and security are assured, a Nigeria where peace and prosperity are guaranteed, a Nigeria where equity and opportunity are available and accessible to all citizens, and a Nigeria where governance is about the yearnings and aspirations of all the citizens. Such a Nigeria can only be engendered if we have a patriotic and competent leadership that is guided by the 7-time tested principles of public life: selflessness, integrity, objectivity, accountability, openness, honesty, and leadership by example. Fellow Nigerians, at this moment, and in the name of God Almighty, today, Tuesday, the first day of November 2022, I formally present you the RMK 2023 blueprint. Thank you very much. Please get seated. I call on all Nigerians to pursue or to peruse through the document and accept same as part of the social contract between RMK, Idahosa, and Nigerians. I wish to, at this juncture, express my deepest appreciation to the members of the Fourth Estate of the RIM for your continuous support, cooperation, and encouragement, and to call on you to understudy our blueprint and propagate same to all Nigerians. While appreciating and thanking you all for sparing your precious time to answer this clarion call, while appreciating and thanking millions of Nigerians who are watching this presentation live on their TV screen and or listening on, I wish to call on all Nigerians to vote for the NNPP in the 2023 general elections. I wish to call on all Nigerians to vote for the RMK Idahosa ticket. Thank you very much, and God bless. May God Almighty help us. Long live Federal Republic of Nigeria. Long live the New Nigeria People's Party, NNPP.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. The next President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, His Excellency Senator Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso. I will still go back to the technical session headed by Comrade Dr. Bappa Bichi, where he will read the citation of His Excellency.
Colleagues, pardon the breach of protocol. It is His Excellency himself that insisted that rather than allowing the break in transmission, he should come and deliver his address. Then only one thing is remaining, the reading of the citation of the President, Senator Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso. And Your Excellency, at this point, I crave your indulgence. May I ask Your Excellency to please stand up for the reading of the citation? Who is Senator Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso? An abridged citation. Yes. Senator Kwankwaso was born on 21st October 1956 in Kwankwaso, a town located in Madobi Local Government Council of Kano State. Kwankwaso belongs to the uncommon breed of the October people, who in history have excelled throughout the world. Here we are talking about great world leaders, Dwight Eisenhower, Theodore Roosevelt, and Jimmy Carter of the United States of America, Vladimir Putin of Russia, Margaret Thatcher of the United Kingdom, David Cameron of the United Kingdom, Theresa May of the United Kingdom, Mustafa Kemal Atatürk, Recep Tayyip Erdogan of Turkey, François Mitterrand of France, Mahatma Gandhi of India, Imran Khan of Pakistan, Kwame Nkrumah, Jomo Kenyatta, Paul Kagame of Africa, Yakubu Gowon and Alex Ikwemi of Nigeria. All of them are born in. We are also talking about the famous Swedish Alfred Nobel and the great English poet and writer Samuel Coleridge of England. These are men and women of substance, men and women of great ideas, men and women who fought for their nations, men and women who changed the course of human history, and men and women whom the world will never forget. This is where His Excellency Senator Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso rightly belongs. Many are called, but only a few answered. As was the tradition and common practice in northern Nigeria, where every child born to a Muslim family must first be exposed to the foundation of his religion, and this was precisely why the young Rabiu was first brought under the tutelage of learned Islamic scholars who opened the window of the world for him to learn the Quran and other holy scriptures to grow as a true Muslim. In a country where even today there are people who are opposed to Western education, the young Rabi's parents had a vision of a great future for their son and therefore sent him to the Kwankwaso primary school. After completing the primary education, he gained admission into the Gorzo Boarding Senior Primary School. He then moved to the Wudu Craft School and later to Kano Technical College in Kano. Having done excellently well at Kano Technical College, Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso gained admission into the historic and unique college in northern Nigeria, the Kaduna Polytechnic, where he obtained both his national diploma and higher national diploma. And just like all other patriots, he served the mandatory National Youth Service Corps in Ogun State to complete the full cycle of the first phase of his academic life, laying a solid. In his thirst for higher knowledge and advancement, Kwankwaso proceeded to the United Kingdom in 1982, where he spent about 10 years pursuing various postgraduate studies. At Middlesex Polytechnic and Loughborough University of Technology, United Kingdom, he pursued and successfully completed his master's degree in water engineering between 1983 and 1985. Still not satisfied with his colorful educational achievement, he moved to the Nottingham University from 1987 to 1999 and attended various professional courses at Derby Water Industrial Training Institute and later London Industrial Training Institute and many more. Even at that early stage, Kwankwaso demonstrated leadership qualities when he became an active student leader during his early school days. Senator Kwankwaso's participation in politics began from the days as a student, where he was appointed the deputy head student, Technical School Kano, President Student Union, Kaduna Polytechnic, President Postgraduate Student, Nottingham University in the United Kingdom, and the first African to become a member of that university's Senate. The journey had only started. Kwankwaso began his civil service career in 1975 at the Kano State Water Resources and Engineering Construction Agency, RECA. And for the next 17 years, he served creditably in various capacities and rose steadily through the ranks to the post of principal engineer. Armed with rich experience in civil service administration, it was time for Kwankwaso to move on, and indeed, he moved on and moved up to the higher echelons of government, where he became an embodiment of hard work, resourcefulness, diligence, and perseverance. Engineer Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso therefore decided to retire very early from the civil service in 1991 and joined active partisan politics. In 1992, Kwankwaso made his decisive entry into politics on the platform of the Social Democratic SDP. He joined the People's Front, an arm of the SDP led by late General Shehu Yar'Adua, made up then of other leading politicians and elder statesmen, including Senator Magaji Abdullahi, Ambassador Babagana Kingibe, former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, Ashwaju Ahmed Bola Tinubu, and late Chief Tony Aneni, Tuba Okadibo, and Chief Lamidi of blessed memory. As fate will have it, Kwankwaso was elected in 1992 as a member of the House of Representatives representing Madobi, Federal Constituency of Kano State. This paved the way for the subsequent election as the Right Honorable Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives. This brought him into the center stage of national politics. From then on, Kwankwaso never looked back. Opportunity presented itself once again when Kwankwaso was elected as one of the delegates to the Constitutional Conference from Kano. It was this Constitutional Conference that culminated in the drafting of the constitutions of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, currently 1999, currently in use in the county. It was also during this period that the People's Democratic Movement, PDM, along with other political associations, metamorphosed into one of the leading political parties in Nigeria, People's Democratic Party, PDP, in August 1998, in the run-up to the 1999 general election. In a keenly contested party primaries for governorship of Kano State in 1999, under the platform of PDP, Kwankwaso won, defeating his opponents hands down. This set the stage for the general election, during which he emerged victorious as the first democratically elected governor of Kano State under the Fourth Republic, and sworn in a colorful ceremony on May 29, 1999. As governor of Kano State from 1999 to 2003, His Excellency Governor Kwankwaso not immediately to the Kano government house. He did not return, not because he did not try to be re-elected at that time. Allah the Almighty had other great and special plans for him. After the general elections, he was appointed the Honorable Minister and 7. Recognizing his inner qualities in the art of diplomacy, he was also appointed as a special envoy to Somalia and Darfur by President Olusegun Obasanjo. Kwankwaso was re-elected in 2011 as the governor of Kano State and returned to government house in full force to continue with the great works he started earlier on to the benefit of the people of Kano State and the nation at large. During his second coming, he set out to reject his political machinery, the Kwankwasia movement, through highly acclaimed infrastructural development programs, including massive construction of roads, hospitals, schools, urban renewal. You can all bear witness that anyone who dispassionately looks back at how Kano State was about 3 decades ago and critically assesses the state of Kano State today will confirm without blinking an eye that Kano City and indeed Kano State bear indelible footprints in Arabi Musa Kwankwaso. Kwankwaso's time in office was characterized by a number of notable achievements. During his first tenure in office as governor of Kano State, 1999-2003, he established the Kano University of Science and Technology, Wudu, the first and only state university in Kano State at that time. During his second tenure, from 2011 to 2015, Governor Kwankwaso went on to establish a second state university, the Northwest University, Kano. These are truly great achievements and further evidences to his visionary leadership and deep commitment to the emancipation of the people. Not contented with the establishment of the two successful universities, Governor Rabiu Kwankwaso went further to establish 26 academic and manpower development training institutes in Kano State. And through these institutes, over 360,000 youth and women were trained and empowered to stand on their feet. He was the first governor in Nigeria to introduce free school feeding and free uniforms for primary school pupils in the country. This exponentially increased the school enrollment in Kano State from 1 million children in 2011 to well over 3 million pupils by 2015, when he completed his second term. Still, Kwankwaso was not done. In his passion for promoting education for the ordinary citizens of Kano State, he introduced free education at all levels in the state, and so to the provision of adequate teaching and learning materials. He established over 230 new secondary schools, out of which 47 were technical colleges, 44 were School of Islamic Studies, a Chinese college, and a French college, as well as conventional grammar schools. Conscious of history and aware of the strategic importance of Niger Republic and Nigeria relation, he jointly with the government of Niger Republic established the first boarding girls' college as well as boys' college in the Magarang and Niamey, respectively. As the governor of Kano State and in his determination to assist and support the youth, He awarded over 3,000 postgraduate and undergraduate foreign scholarships in at least 14 different countries around the world. This was in addition to the grant of university scholarships for young scholars to pursue various professional courses here in private universities in Nigeria, including Bells University, Ota, Crescent University, Abeokuta, Ebinidion University, Okada, Apti American University, Al-Qalam University, Katsina, etc. In a country such as Nigeria, and at a time like now, when there is deafening cry among for leadership and good governance, Senator Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso stands out as a role model of all time. Did you know that long before the Treasury single account system was introduced by the federal government and adopted by other states in Nigeria,
You've been watching a live coverage of the presidential candidate of the NNPP, Musa Rabiu Kwankwaso, presenting his campaign blueprint.